Good day, everyone. In this video, we are going to introduce another set of phrase structure tree rules that are considered to be recursive rules. So what are recursive rules of phrase tree structures or phrase structure trees? So these are the structures that allow repetition of that same structure or other structures in that same sentence. Okay, so, and these recursive rules allow longer sentences, allow more specified or more specific information about the subject. Okay, so let's look at this sentence that we have here. So this sentence has a phrase structure that is recursive. So there is a structure there that is repeated. Okay, so let's look at, let's consider the rule number 5, the fifth rule. We are saying that a verb phrase can have a verb phrase and a prepositional phrase. So this is one example of a recursive rule in phrase structure because it repeats. It can repeat in itself and can create longer sentences. Okay, so let's look at the sentence here as an example. Let's divide first according to which part is the subject and which part is the predicate. So this part is the subject. So the verb is here. So this part here starts our predicate because of the word walked, which is a verb. Okay, so now let's deal with them according to word level. So let's assign them according to, or label them according to their syntactical category. So we have the is a determiner. Man is a noun. Walked is a verb. Down is a preposition. The is a determiner. Hall is a noun. With is a preposition. A is a determiner. Cane is a noun. Toward is a preposition. The is a determiner, and cr is a noun. So we have here a noun, a determiner, a noun, a verb, a preposition, a determiner, a noun, a preposition, a determiner, a noun, preposition, determiner, a noun. Okay, so now let's deal with them according to phrase level. So let's first deal with the phrase level, the phrase structure that we can find in the subject part. So we have a determiner and a noun. So a determiner and a noun, according to rule number 2, creates a noun phrase. So the subject is already settled. Now let's deal with it according to the phrase level. So let's start here at this part here. So a determiner and a noun creates a noun phrase. Okay, and a determiner and a noun plus a noun phrase could create a prepositional phrase. Next, we have a determiner and a noun. It could create a noun phrase. A preposition and a noun phrase could create a prepositional phrase. And that goes the same with the next. You have a prepositional phrase. And another prepositional phrase. So we have 3 prepositional phrases here. And we have the next one, a verb. So what are we going to do with this verb? If you're going to consider this verb, it already completes the thought, the man walked. So this could be a verb phrase following rule number 4, that a verb phrase can be or can have a verb only, and that as long as that verb is an intransitive verb, because this verb is already completing the thought of the sentence. Okay, so a verb, according to rule number 4, can be a verb phrase already. Okay, so you see the level there. Okay, so they are sisters. Okay, they are called sisters because of the level of phrase structure level that they belong to. Okay, now a verb phrase can have, according to rule number 5, a verb phrase can have a verb phrase and a prepositional phrase, right? So this is following rule number 5. So I dealt with this because this is the mother, okay? This is the mother sentence. Actually, you have to deal with it here. You have to consider this constituent here because it could stand on its own. Remember our lesson on constituency or constituents? As long as it could stand on its own, it is considered to become a constituent. Okay, so that's why I labeled this first. I labeled this first because it could complete. Okay, it could primarily complete the subject here. So that's why I called it as my VP. Next is I added prepositional phrase because it just an addendum, an additional information to the word walked, right? So that's why I added them. I added them first because that's how we write sentences, right? So we deal with it as to how we continue the sentence. Okay, so because the more words that you add here, the more specific the more specific is the sentence. But that does not necessarily mean that they are needed. Actually, they are just additional information so that the meaning is more specific. Okay, so that's why I started here. So the man walked. So that's a verb and that's a verb phrase. It's already complete. But then you added one more because you wanted the thought to be specific. Walked where? Down the hall. So that's why we added a prepositional phrase. And that structure, a verb phrase plus a prepositional phrase, can stand on its own. They could be constituents because they can stand on their own. Walked and down the hall could stand on their own. If you test down the hall, it could pass the constituency test. So that means that this is a constituent, this is a valid, this is a valid constituent. Even if you remove it, the sentence will stand. And if you add it, the sentence will still stand. That's a constituent. Okay, now you added a VP and a PP. So that means that you created another verb phrase. You have one verb phrase here. You created another verb phrase here that is following rule number 5, right? Now you're seeing here, but it's not enough for you. When you said, down the hall, it's not yet enough for you. The information is not yet enough for you. So you added with a cane. So your verb phrase, walked down the hall, has been added with another prepositional phrase, with a cane. So this creates a VP plus a PP creates another VP, which is a recurring structure of this structure. So that's why this structure is what you call a recurring or recursive rule in phrase structure. So you added one more prepositional phrase. You added one more prepositional phrase to your verb phrase. Walked down the hall with a cane. Okay, so now you have two verb phrases here, but this is already the mother verb phrase because it encapsulates the whole predicate here. But then it's still not enough for you. You added one more toward the CR. Okay, so this verb phrase here, walked down the hall with a cane, you added one more prepositional phrase. And that is your verb phrase. So this is your mother verb phrase now. Okay, because it encapsulates all the verb phrases here and the verb phrase plus the prepositional phrases here. So this here will become your mother verb phrase added to your noun phrase that creates the... Okay, so this not verb phrase here creates your S node or the sentence. So you are now looking at a sentence that is added with a repeating structure, which is the verb phrase, has a verb phrase and a prepositional phrase. So that's it. So you are now seeing how a recursive rule can be applied in sentences. So what's your first rule number 5? It's here. A verb phrase can have a verb phrase and a prepositional phrase. And then it was repeated, or it repeated. It was copied. No? A verb phrase. This verb phrase here has a prepositional phrase. And then another. A verb phrase and a prepositional phrase. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So that's how recursive rules apply in a sentence. Okay, so that's all for number 5. The recursiveness of the 5th phrase structure rule.